Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today, well, there's a bunch of things going on today. I'm not even sure I'm going to name the video here, the title. I haven't thought about that. But something happened on Monday. I think it was Monday, maybe Tuesday. I lose track of time nowadays. The little puppies got me a little sleep deprived. But let's go look at this here. I got something I want to show you guys. I got Yard of the Month. Local women's club came by and they liked my garden here. So I won an award. That's pretty cool that somebody thought that my yard was worthy of, or my garden here was worthy of some kind of an award. Pat on the back, as it were. Let's call it a pat on the back. I don't think it's worthy, and I stated as much. But they thought that the garden itself was quite beautiful. The one thing that really grabbed their eyes was the gladiolus, which sadly is going over now. Had they come by probably 2 weeks earlier, and as I said, if you guys came by 2 weeks earlier, the glads were just absolutely incredible and stunning. But sadly, they're going over today. Oh, not today, but they've been going over for a while. One of the mistakes I made when my wife bought the gladiolus and I planted them out, was planted them all at once, as it were. So what happens is they all basically come into bloom at once, and then they all go at once. I mean, there are still some, and they do look nice, but sadly they are going over now. I think I walked past the ones in front. Let's go look at the ones in front. These are gladiolus I bought last year, and they're Braval. B-R-A-V-A-L, Braval gladiolus. They're all yellow. They're very pretty. They're very nice. And yeah, I don't think I'm going to add any more to this bed, but I do want to add more beds to the garden in time. Like I said, maybe this fall. We'll have to wait and see how things pan out in the grand scheme of things. But one of the things I do want to do, and my wife is in agreement. Actually, it was her idea, so all credit goes to my wife, is I want to turn around and start propagating these. Now, the only way I knew of propagating gladiolus, because I'm an idiot and I don't pay much attention to things, is by digging up the corms, C-O-R-Ms, is that it? I think that's it. Either way, digging them up, and each of these plants, which grows from a corm, produces baby corms, and then that's how new gladiolus are generally made. It's the fastest way that you can get a gladiolus. There is another way, and that is to turn around and let's see if I can find one. Collect the seed pods here. Hopefully that's in focus. So that's a seed pod. Let's see if we can find a few others that are a little more ready. All right, here's a whole stalk that's ready to go. So the pods get dried out, and then they start splitting open and they'll dump their seeds. Now, I did some homework before this video, and according to the interwebs, it takes about 3 years for you to get a gladiolus from seed to a big, nice corm that you can then grow a nice, beautiful plant from. And it takes about 12 weeks, if I'm reading this correctly, to grow a seed into a corm. Now, the corm will be small, but it'll still be a corm. So I have a new plan. So my wife said, why don't we start collecting the seeds as opposed to normally what we would do, and what I'm sure many people do, is just cut the stalks off once the flowers are done, and start collecting those seeds, and then start up our own whole little gladiolus factory, as it were. So we've got this bed here towards the back of the veg garden, and right now I just have some grass in there and some other half-eaten beans, things like that. I'm going to take a bunch of my homemade compost. I'm going to put it into this bed, and then what we're going to do is we're going to grow a bunch of gladiolus seeds. Now, again, from what I've read and understood, is it takes about 12 weeks for them to come to fruition. And again, the corm will be small. From my understanding, I have to do a little more research on this. And if you've ever grown gladiolus from seeds, please let me know below. But this is what I'm understanding, is that put the seed in the ground, takes about 12 weeks, produces a corm, and then the plant starts to grow from that. My theory is, or my thought process at this point, is to turn around, collect some of those seeds, which I've already done, and I'll show you in a second, and then fill up that bed, plant some of those seeds into that bed. I'm actually going to plant some into a tray and some into the bed. And here's my thinking. So we don't get our last freeze until like November, mid to late November sometimes, depends upon the weather. Plant some seeds now. Hopefully they throw up leaves way before then. They're able to get enough energy. They'll die back when the first frost hits, okay, because it's about 12 weeks, right? So that's July, August, September, right? And then that leaves October, November again if they throw up some leaves. They'll go dormant, and then they'll come back the next spring, theoretically. So what I'm going to do to hedge my bets, though, is I'm going to take some of these seeds and I'm going to put them in the bed. And then I'm going to take some and I'm going to put them into pots or trays, probably trays, and put them out on the tables here. Let them grow on, and then come winter time, or right before the first frost, I'll turn around and put them in the greenhouse. And then they can sit in there over the winter. If the leaves stay on, great. They'll just soak up the energy. Maybe it'll stay warm enough that the leaves will stay up and on, and they'll do all right. And then I can plant them out into, again, the production bed come the springtime. And then they'll grow on, and then, again, 2 to 3 years. Now, the other thing I'll do, too, is I will keep enough seeds aside that I will then plant out the following spring. So this way, theoretically, I can always have a rotating crop, maybe? I don't know. I've never done this before. I'm sort of making this up as I go along, in case you haven't noticed that. And I think that's one of the fun parts about gardening is that you can just experiment. And it's really warm out right now, and I have no other big projects that I'm doing at the moment. I have other projects to be done, but right now it's a little later on Friday than I would be filming normally, so I want to kind of do this. Anyways, let me show you the seed pods and seeds. Here's a seed pod. I'm going to actually pick one that's already split open. So this one's sort of split open, and you can see some of the seeds that are on the inside. And you can just scrape them out with your finger. And then that pot is done. Throw it on the compost heap. So here's one that's just starting to split open. And you can see the seeds all along. And again, I'll just scrape them out with my finger. These seeds are really dry. And as you can see, I have lots to go through here. And I have a lot more pods on the plants themselves still. So I'm not going to bore you guys with me doing this for hours on end. But in the end, I will collect as many of these seeds as I can, and I'll let them dry out on this plate. Try a few different things. We'll try growing them now in a seed tray, try growing them next spring, and then we'll try growing them out in the bed, and we'll see what happens. What grows, what doesn't grow. The other thing I read, if I understood this correctly, is that the germination rate on gladiolus seeds isn't the best. So it behooves one, I guess, to collect as many seeds as possible. I'm going to do this over the next few weeks. I'll collect the seeds. I'll then try to plant some out in trays. I'll plant some out into the raised bed there. In the greenhouse, it's very hot and warm right now, which is great. It'll dry the seeds out pretty quickly, which is what you want apparently. So there's that. There is one more thing that I've recently discovered that I had no clue about. Maybe you guys did, but I didn't know. Is propagating pineapple lily. Now there's several different methods you could do this with. You could propagate pineapple lily with, and again, you've been following along with the channel, you know I have several throughout the property, well, throughout the garden. Method number 1 is what I'm going to try today. I'm not going to do method number 2 because apparently it takes forever, apparently even longer, allegedly longer than the gladiolus, which would be seed. Collecting their seed and trying to grow pineapple lily from seed can literally, again, my understanding, take a little bit longer than the gladiolus. The third way to propagate pineapple lily is apparently dig it up and divide. which is what we'll do in the fall, because I do want to, some of these plants are getting quite large. Actually, I saw a video where a lady dug one up. It was huge. And there were like 8 bulbs all attached to a central one. It was crazy. I don't think any of mine are going to be that bad, but we'll see in the fall. So in the fall, we're going to dig one up and divide it that way. But now I want to show you another way that you can theoretically grow your pineapple lily faster than seed. And it's just something I discovered recently, and I'm going to try it. It may be a little too late in the season, but I'm going to give it a try. What could be the worst thing that happens? So here are some of my pineapple lily, and this is at the corner of the flower garden. And they're getting pretty large, and I know they're getting large because if I'm not mistaken, each bulb pushes up one flowering stem. And as you can see, many of these have multiple stems. So there's probably multiple bulbs underneath. So this is what I'll be digging up in the fall and try to divide and then replant. But today we're going to try something else. And this one is going to be the target. Apparently, as I step on plants, you can turn around and propagate from a leaf. And these leaves look pretty good. Now also, word of note, you're supposed to do this in the spring. But, you know, come on. Rules, please. We're going to pick, I want to pick this one. Yeah. So here's our leaf. Now let's go do things with it. We have our leaf, and okay, this is the top. This is the piece I just cut. This is important because if you plant it upside down, it's never going to work. Allegedly, apparently, I don't know. This is what I'm seeing on the interwebs. This is what I'm going with. I have 2 different pots here. One with a potting mix, and the other one with peat mixed with perlite. From what I've seen on the interwebs, they say that if you plant into a material that's too rich, like a potting mix, then roots won't form. I think they will form. I think it just may take a little longer, maybe. So that's why I'm going to try the peat as well. I mixed it with some perlite to help with drainage, and we're going to try putting some cuttings in there. So what I'm going to do, they say to cut 2-inch pieces, and then just stick them in. Now I'm not putting them in deeply. From what I saw on the interwebs, you don't need to. Maybe a 1/2 inch to 1 inch. And this is what they look like. And then I'm going to water them in thoroughly. And that's it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take them and I'm going to put them in the back underneath the shade cloth here, and I'll let them sit. Now, the other thing that the interweb said was to put like a plastic bag over them to help retain the moisture and keep the plants moist. I'm in growing zone 8A. It is very hot out and very humid. I don't think humidity is going to be a problem with these, and I do water everything on the potting bench daily because I have a lot of stuff in smaller pots that I want to make sure that they get the water. So here we go. Now, I watched a woman on the YouTubes, and she turned around and did this very same thing, and it took about 3 months for a bulb to start developing, or in this case, a bulb. Because, yeah, pineapple lilies are bulbs. Pineapple lilies are bulbs. So it took about 3 months for a bulb to start developing. So my game plan is in the meantime, just as a note, in case you want to try this at home, in case you haven't already done it. Many of you experienced gardeners probably have done something like this. Again, I'm an inexperienced novice. I just discovered this method myself, and I thought I'd give it a try because why not? But her leaves all died back. They looked yellow. They looked terrible. Don't panic, because when she dug up one of those yellow leaves, that's when she discovered the bulb forming at the base of one of these leaves. So it will take time. So my game plan is to turn around and take these, put them underneath the shade cloth for the summer. Come the winter time, I will move them into the greenhouse. I may get curious and dig one up just to see if there's a bulb forming, because again, I presume that these leaves will die back. But I will turn around, put it in the greenhouse over the winter, and theoretically, hypothetically, possibly, I might have a bulb to plant out into the garden or into a pot next year. So we'll see what happens. Again, an experiment, something fun, something new, something interesting. Gonna give it a try. If you guys have tried anything like this before, or if you've grown pineapple lily from a cutting or from seed, or gladiolas from seed, or just dug them up and divided them, please let me know in the comments below. Sophie's just reminding me to go back inside because it's hot out and she doesn't want me to get heat stroke. She's also wondering why I took her from the air conditioning to bring her out here. But if you have any other questions or comments or anything that, again, just leave those comments below. If you guys are wondering what happened to my lemons or what happened to that persimmon tree that I planted out or anything around the garden here, any questions that you have about the garden or anything like that, please leave those comments below. I'm already trying to think of ideas for Monday's video. So if you have any thoughts or suggestions, please leave those comments below. That's going to be about it for today. Be sure to check out all the links below. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Click that bell icon to be notified when I do post a new video. This way you can see how much bigger Sophie's getting and what else is going on here around the garden. In around here, the heat's cooking my brains. I need to go inside now. I'm going to catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.